Today's episode of Connect is way more than an episode. It's truly an experience because I sit down with R.D. Saunders, VP of Advancement for Equip Leadership. Equip falls under the huge umbrella of the name John Maxwell. His enterprise, his leadership, his books, his speaking engagements. I'm currently reading one of his million books right now, and it's truly life-changing. And so I invite you to tune in now to hear the story of this dynamic leader who embodies servant leadership and truly embraces a global community.
Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right? Jordan?
Titania.
Titania. Okay. Titania.
It's Titania Jordan. All right, so RD, we've got some really exciting things to cover today.
Yes, ma'am.
But to frame it all, let's talk about what is Equip.
Well, that's a great question. You know, the word itself literally means to come alongside and assist or help. But initially, John Maxwell, our founder, a famous New York Times best-selling author, John had the vision that if we could just equip people with leadership training, we could not only change their lives, but we could potentially change the lives of everyone they influence, everyone around them. Because in John's mind, leadership is influence and nothing else. Yeah. So Equip was really launched to bring leadership training to places in the world that needed it most, but could afford it the least.
Wow.
Places in the third world,
yeah.
Places with despotic governments potentially, places where leadership could really make a difference.
Wow. That is so compelling, and it has been alive for 22 years?
Actually, a little bit longer than that,
okay.
But it's been alive probably in the heart of John for 30, 40 years, you might say, but as an official organization, a little over 22 years. Yes,
wow, wow, that's amazing. Let's talk about some of the impact that Equip has had.
Initially launching, hoping to get into most of the countries of the world. 2013, they reached all 196 countries of the world with leadership training, including some of the darkest spots on planet Earth. The initial vision was to reach many leaders. Then it became, let's reach 1 million leaders. And now, 22 years later, it's over 7 million leaders have been raised by Equip around the world.
And what defines a leader?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because a lot of people might think that a leader is someone in a leadership position. But if leadership, as John says, and as we believe, is influence, it's merely the ability to influence someone, whether you're in a position of influence or not. A lot of times you could go into an organization and you could have the position of leader, but there might be someone who's been in that organization for years, who's helped many other people. That person might actually be the one with the greatest influence. So it's not necessarily having a leadership position, but if you develop the ability to influence, eventually you will be in the position of leader in that organization.
Wow. You know, not everybody can say that they wake up every day and get to work with people and for an organization that is really fulfilling. I would say you are one of the lucky few who do.
I would agree.
And on that note, how in the world did you get to be a part of Equip and working with John Maxwell?
You know, I think many of us who have interacted and intersected with John over the years will say that there was a moment when John changed their life. I know a lot of folks who believe that, and that was true of me. I was a pastor for many years. I hit a wall kind of as a leader where I didn't feel like I had any more to give. I then became a student of leadership, and that completely transformed my ministry and really my life. So I started kind of as a student of John's, and you might say as a fan, and because who wouldn't be when that person has helped to change your life? And then I became a volunteer. I became one of the associate trainers who goes around the world and teaches leadership for Equip. And so I got kind of an inside view, not only of Equip, but of the charity world and of the international community. And that really drew my heart away from the church world. I still care about the church world and want to help, but I feel like there's so many needs and so many opportunities in the international space that I went down that path with another organization, and having been in that organization for 8 years, it positioned me for the Equip folks to think that I might be able to make a contribution in their organization. And so June of this past year, I joined the Equip team full-time as the Vice President of Advancement.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
What are some key elements that you've seen that are transformative in people's lives who are influential yet don't quite realize that they are or will be a leader?
Wow. You know, there's a lady that is truly, to me, one of the greatest stories of transformation, because we believe that leadership brings about transformation one way or the other, both the transformation in the leader's life and the transformation they affect in other lives. So Nydia was a lady, just a regular lady, average lady in the country of Guatemala, a place where we started working 3 or 4 years ago in a real heavy, intensive effort. And Nydia was brought into her company to receive leadership training that we provided. And she didn't know what it was for. She was just being a dutiful employee. But the leadership training that she got changed her life. In that exact moment, as she began to train, her son, unfortunately, was sent to prison. While in prison, she was just devastated by this. Who wouldn't be as a mother? But the leadership training began to challenge her to think that she could make a difference and that this training could make a difference. So she took it to the prison. And she brought the same training she was getting to the prisoners. Well, these guys feel like they're useless, they're have of no value. But when she started training them, it completely transformed that prison. Now, that prison has been restored beautifully. It was just this broken down mess of a place. All of the prisoners, probably not every single one, but many of the prisoners who received this training began to say, we can make this a better place. And now that prison is the highest rated, finest prison in all of the country. Her son got sent to another prison, so she took that training there. And so she's sort of, you might say, franchising transformation, because every prison now is thinking, how can we get her son in our prison so she'll come and help us? And she's just the most average lady.
Wow.
But this all began when she was valued enough by her company to say, we believe in you, we want to train you to be a leader. And now she's taking it and using it to help so many thousands of other people.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And for people that want to follow along on the journey and get plugged in, the website is?
Well, iequip.org,
Yep.
www.I, the letter I, EQUIP.org.
And let's make sure to put that link in the description below this video that you're watching. iequip.org. It's a great URL. It's hard, they're hard to come by these days.
It is, yes ma'am.
And the term servant leadership is thrown around quite a bit.
Yes.
It's kind of like a fad.
Yes.
In some circles, but it truly is the cornerstone of what I believe to be effective leadership, and really what we're called on this planet to do for each other.
No question.
So let's really get into the nitty-gritty of what servant leadership is and how it can transform not only a human, but an entire group of people, a nation and a world.
Yes. Well, obviously, when you hear the term leader, literally in some cultures, there is no term for leader other than tyrant. They have no word that has a positive connotation for the term leader. Wow. It's been a challenge for us in translating our material in some places. So we've had to define that, we've had to qualify that with a word. And the word that more often than not has helped us has been servant leader. Because a servant leader is a person who leads for the benefit of others. They don't just lead for the benefit of themselves. A despotic leader, a tyrant, leads for their own selfish benefit. A servant leader leads for the benefit of others. So that would be the definition in my mind of a servant leader. It's truly what 3CI has always stood for, what John Maxwell has always modeled. We believe in a Christian sense, it's the kind of leader that Jesus was too. So we understand that deeper maybe than others might, or however others might receive that. That's entirely personal. But in our case, we believe we have a model in servant leadership that we need to follow. But in the end, we believe servant leadership, whether you see it in a faith connotation or not, is the finest way to lead others. Because in the end, the thing that most draws people magnetically to a leader is when they see that leader is selfless. When that leader is leading for the benefit of others, it draws people to them. It makes people want to follow a leader. So if you're going to be an effective leader, in the end, in the long run, you're going to have to realize you must become a servant. There has never been a long-term successful leader who was not a servant leader. In the end, if you're not a servant leader, if you're a tyrannical, despotic type leader, you're going to destroy yourself, or your people are going to destroy you, one or the other.
That's so
But
true.
when you serve others, they lift you up, they honor you, and you're effective as a leader.
Wow. And where do you find balance as a servant leader who's always giving, always serving others? There are times when you need to call on your team to help you in the areas where you're weak.
Sure.
So how do you balance not going too to give
Well,
too much?
Yeah, and it's an ideal question, because I think that that's an area where people would struggle. But in the end, a servant leader is usually a visionary leader. In other words, there is a cause, there is a purpose that we are all serving in this organization where I am functioning as a servant leader. So in the end, the people the servant leader is serving are not the cause. We're in this together. There is a mission, a bigger vision that we're serving, and we all have to point to that, and we all have to at times be selfless so that mission can be achieved. If you have someone on your team that's in the end being someone who wants to be served constantly, they are not going to help you achieve your mission.
No.
So if we're going to be in this relationship where we follow a servant leader, then we've also got to understand there is a grand mission and vision that the organization is trying to achieve, and we all serve that first before we serve ourselves.
Right, and leading by example is huge. We want to lift up our leaders who are very good at casting vision and not being despotic and tyrannical and selfish. Where would you say the key areas are to start when you want to embark on this path of, wow, I really would like to look inward and look outward and embrace this ideal of becoming the best leader I can be?
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as a call to serve that doesn't come implicitly with that as a call to grow. So in my mind, that any person who would want to ever be a leader must first be a student, must first in some respects be a follower. So I think that the first step for any person who might want to lead and want to achieve and want to do something as a leader is, in effect, to go up, you must start by going down. You must start by humbling yourself and recognizing we all need to grow. In fact, the interesting thing is there's a verse in the Bible that says that Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, favor with God, and favor with man. The first, most stunning part of that is Jesus had to grow. If he had to grow, it's likely we do too, right? So he grew, we've got to grow. So I think the first step for any person is to commit yourself to some thorough plan of personal growth and development, and you're well on your way to becoming a great leader, in my opinion.
I love that. I don't know if you're familiar with Kat Cole, the local female entrepreneur who was the CEO of Cinnabon. You know, she was on the forefront of getting down to the very, very beginning level and serving customers when they ordered the Cinnabon.
Oh.
She had to really examine, you know, what are our pain points?
Sure.
And and let that show Undercover Bosses.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
those leaders grow the most,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
Because they're not just in their patriarchal tower of oblivion.
Yes, exactly right. Totally agree.
Now let's talk a little bit about you. And I know you were in the church and a pastor and have transformed into what you're doing now. But what are some really compelling things that have happened in your life that have helped to shape you and where you are today? You know, positive, negative, all of the above.
The fact is, I've got no business being here today, Titania. I really don't.
Right?
I grew up. Oh my
Preach.
goodness! I grew up in a home that was a broken home with an abusive alcoholic father. My parents got divorced at a young age. We were really in poverty. I really have no business being here, but I had grandparents who had a vision for me. And along the way, somehow there were other people who came into my life that I believe were sent by God, who believed I could do more than maybe what my upbringing prepared me to do. I will say too that I probably learned early on how important it is to grow personally.
Right.
And frankly, every time I've hit a wall, I've decided more growth required, and so I've taken that moment to invest in something to help me grow personally. So I will say that without any doubt, the people who've come into my life have helped me. They've lifted my lid. I've got no business being here, but because of those great folks, I'm here. In many respects, my wife, Shelley, has had a great role in helping me to grow and to become a better man. No question, people like John Maxwell, and having a friendship with John over the years and other people who've been mentored by John has changed my life. So I'm very, very fortunate. Got no business being here. I do thank the Lord for times when I decided I was going to make the most of myself, that I wasn't just going to accept my past as an excuse and accept the challenges that I grew up with and the disadvantages I had as an excuse, but I was going to take advantage of every opportunity I could find, and maybe even I could make a few. And along the way, I've been very fortunate to have so many wonderful opportunities that really helped me to be where I am today. And frankly, I'm far below where I should be. I should have done more. I should have achieved more with my life than what I've done.
I struggle with that.
But I'm also very grateful for what I've been able to be a part of and who I know and who I've been able to work with. I'm very blessed today.
That's awesome. You know, it really kicked in when I had my son, Jackson. He was born when
that's big.
Yeah. It's once you
Yeah.
have your child. I think I was 29 when he was born, or 28 when he was born, and it was like boom, clock started.
Yes.
You know, the gun they shoot when it's time
Yeah.
for you to start racing. It's like go.
Yeah, exactly.
Go. You're late.
Yeah.
You know. I remember also hearing the Pink Floyd song "Time." It's like you missed the starting gun, man. Like, where have you been?
Yeah.
Where have you been for your, high school, college,
Yeah.
and early 20s? Like,
You got to go hard then, don't you?
that ship
Yeah.
has sailed.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, I'm trying to be a good mother and a good wife and a good daughter and a good sister and a good
Yeah,
friend,
a
but
good
also,
everything. Yeah.
an amazing woman and technology and learning how to be a leader, learning how to not let my past shape my future
Yes.
negatively but positively.
Yeah.
Learning that everything happens for a reason. I firmly believe that, and God has a plan for me. God has a plan for all of us. We're not here by accident. We're
Yeah.
here for a reason. And we all have unique abilities
Yes.
that make us shine.
No question.
And so we've got to pour in and figure out what those unique gifts are
Yes.
that make us us, and that nobody else can be.
Exactly.
So, like, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah. I'm all fired up now.
What I love about you is you recognized, okay, I've got this hardware, I've got the way I'm made, but you also said, I'm in control of the software. I can decide what goes inside. I can decide how I think and how I function. And what an incredible job you've done realizing that. So many folks realize it and they don't take control of the software. They don't take control of how they're thinking and how they're kind of living their life, and they just let it come however it comes. Well, let me tell you, it always comes low. You've got to make it better. You've got to want it to be better, and you've got to fight to make it better. And
Absolutely.
You've done that, Titania.
Yeah, every day could be a fight or a struggle. But living with an attitude of gratitude, giving God praise, even when days are not so great,
Yes.
they could always be worse.
Yeah. Welcome to planet Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you do in those times where you're feeling down or you hit a wall?
Yeah. Well, and that happens quite a lot. I'm in a very challenging role with very high expectations, and you can't always control the things that happen, but you can control, and you are in charge of your attitude. It is your choice, And the attitude you have is the attitude you've chosen. And you've chosen that by what you've chosen to focus on, how you've chosen to think about it and look at it and focus on. It has become your choice. And so for me, I have to change the foundation for why my attitude is what it is in that moment. I have to get a bigger picture. I have to understand this is just a snapshot. This is not the moving picture. And I have to do some things to sort of feed a better attitude. And that's why I try to connect with positive folks in those moments. I try to talk to others who help me to get a different perspective. You know, it's kind of looking in one of those three-sided mirrors. You see sides of yourself you didn't see. When you look in one of those, and like, wow, I didn't realize that spot back there was so bald in my case, you know. So, but that's the benefit of perspective. And sometimes we have the attitude we have because we have the perspective we have. So other people can help with that. Oftentimes too, and this is an absolute fact, I've proven it true 100 times, I feel better when I go do something that makes me feel better rather than sitting there thinking about what makes me feel bad.
Yes.
And I've found it to be so true that if I will choose in those moments when I'm down to find a way to bless, encourage, help, be generous to, love on someone else, interestingly, two people end up feeling better. They and I feel better.
Absolutely.
And so often we just sit and stew, and it's no wonder we keep feeling bad because we're sort of in a mirrored hole where all we see is ourself and what isn't good about our life.
Cue the violin.
Yeah.
Like it can be bad.
It can be so bad, and it's no wonder people aren't feeling good because all they see is their mess. But somehow, when I start focusing on others, I start climbing out of that mirrored hole, and I start feeling better because I'm not living and focusing on me, living for and focusing on me. I'm living for and focusing on someone else.
That's so crucial. And keep in mind, too, that your brain is a very literal organ. So while you know certain truths to be self-evident,
yes.
What you're telling yourself, your negative feedback, can really impair
no question.
your ability to move forward.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody who struggles with anxiety and depression sometimes, I've got to be very, very intentional about what is coming in and what I am telling myself, and again, getting outside of myself and helping others. So it's just, you know, we just want to be really authentic with you all. Like, everything's good, we're showered, we have our nice clothes on, we smell decent, but like, life isn't always perfect, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. So as somebody who loves the internet, obviously there's a lot of bad things with it, but as a general rule, like, love the internet, love how we can really rally together as a community from all over the globe and pour into others. How can anybody watching out there pour into you and help you with whatever you're doing?
Well, I really appreciate that question, Titania, and honestly, for many people it begins with just taking a look. You know, we talked about the website, and we encourage you to go there, but you can Google all kinds of things or whatever your search engine of choice might be and find out about Equip. But one of the things that I would love for people to take a look at is on our website we have several videos that sort of tell the story, and there's many incredible stories of transformation. But I would be happy if someone wanted to reach out to me, I'd be happy to sit down with them face to face and tell them the story. We're not just interested in having a few folks from a distance who aren't really engaged with us. We like to get up close and personal with people who want to partner with us and really see how we might bless them and serve them. So my first thought would be, is what is it that you need? How could we at Equip bless you, serve you, equip you, encourage you? That would really be my first and foremost concern, because I feel like that those who come to us in some respects to help us are also those who come to us in some respects for us to help.
Right.
So however we can serve you, it is our hope. John Maxwell is one of the most genuinely honest and sincerely loving people I've ever met. And that filters down through everything we do at Equip. However we can serve is where we'd want to start. So if you want to go to the website and learn about us, great. If there's some way we can serve you, we definitely want to. Probably the biggest thing we've got going right now is we've just launched an educational leadership program in the high schools all the high schools, all the high school students in Paraguay and Guatemala, 1.8 million kids are going to be receiving this January John Maxwell's leadership training in a very well done format, a very beautiful style of book that is engaging, that will attract young people. And we're convinced that when they get this leadership training, it is not only going to change their life, but potentially it could change the entire country.
Wow.
I mean, when you raise up a leader, leaders find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders figure it out. For instance, I have a guy that I worked with in a little tiny kingdom of Swaziland in southern Africa, little nondescript place. And this guy became a student of leadership training. And today, he leads the #1 orphanage that is rescuing abandoned babies. Where did it begin? When he became a leader. Leaders find a way. So that's kind of the big thing we're doing right now. We want to help the next generation of leader make an impact in their country. And we have this incredible opportunity in Paraguay and Guatemala to bring leadership training to nearly 2 million kids.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So to find out more and to connect with R.D. Saunders, go to iequip.org.
Yes.
And is there any other place that we should follow you?
Well, if you want to come to get me, rd.saunders, S-A-U-N-D-E-R-S, at iequip.org. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. I'd love to connect with you, and we're here to serve you in any way we can.
RD, it was such an honor to have you on the show, tell your story, talk about what you're doing at Equip, and I'm so thrilled to know you and thankful, and can't wait to see what God does in our lives.
You're awesome, Titania. Thank you for the honor of being with you, and thank you to the whole 3CI community. You guys are incredible.
And thank you all for watching.